Once upon a time there were friends who loved to go deep sea diving. They were all experienced divers and had explored many underwater places, but had never encountered anything like what they were about to experience. One day they decided to explore a remote area of the ocean where few people had gone before them. As they descended into the depths, they saw a hairy figure lurking in the distance. At first they thought it was just a pack of fish, but as they got closer they realized it was a great white shark. The shark seemed to be watching them, waiting for the right moment to attack. The divers tried to stay calm and swim away, but the shark was relentless. It circled around them, swimming closer and closer with each passing moment. As the shark approached them, the divers realized they were in mortal danger. They tried to fight off the shark with their diving equipment, but it was no use. The shark was too strong, too determined to make them its prey. And at last, desperate to save themselves, the divers swam to the surface as fast as they could. But the shark was faster. It grabbed one of the divers by the leg and dragged him into the abyss. The other divers watched in horror as their friend was swallowed by the shark, his screams echoing through the water. They knew they had to get out there quickly, or they too would fall prey to the monstrous predator. With pounding hearts and burning lungs, the surviving divers made their way to the surface, panting. They had never been so terrified in their lives, and they knew they would never forget the horror they had felt that day. They avoided that remote area of the ocean ever since, haunted by memories of the terrifying great white shark that nearly took their lives. Despite the traumatic experience they had, the group of friends couldn't shake off the thought of the great white shark they encountered. They were afraid that the shark would continue to haunt them, and that they would never be able to dive again. However, as time passed, their fear gradually faded, and they started to feel the pull of the ocean again. They knew that they could not let their fear control them, and that they had to face their fear head-on. One day, they decided to go back to the same remote area of the ocean where they had encountered the great white shark. They felt that they needed to confront their fear and overcome it once and for all. As they descended into the water, they felt the familiar fear creeping up on them. But this time, they were determined to push through it. They swam cautiously, keeping a close eye on their surroundings, but they saw no signs of the shark. Just as they were starting to feel relieved, they saw a shadowy figure approaching in the distance. At first, they panicked, thinking it was the great white shark. But as it got closer, they realized it was a different kind of shark. This one was smaller, but it looked just as menacing. The divers watched as the shark circled around them, and for a moment, they froze in fear. But then, they remembered why they were there. They were there to face their fear and overcome it. One by one, they swam towards the shark, their heart pounding with fear. But as they got closer, they saw that the shark was not aggressive at all. It swam peacefully around them, almost as if it was curious about them. The divers felt a sense of relief and wonder as they watched the shark swim away. They had faced their fear and had come out unscathed. From that day on, they realized that the ocean was not something to be feared,